Truth is stranger than fiction, but it is because fiction is obliged to stick to possibilities. Truth isn't. "So, it is claimed," said Mark Twain, "he need have looked no further than the story of an 18th century Frenchman known as Tarrare for the perfect illustration of his adage. The details of this man's short but extraordinary life scarcely seem possible. As we're inclined to say today, you just couldn't make it up." The man whose only known name is Tarrare was born near Lyon around 1772 and displayed an abnormally voracious appetite from birth. By his teens, he needed to consume at least his own body weight in meat every day and had been cast out by parents who were unable to feed him. Forced to survive as best he could, he took to begging and stealing with bands of thieves before joining traveling charlatans and sideshows and performing swallowing feats on the streets of Paris by eating stones, corks, whole baskets full of apples, and even live animals. With a large, lipless mouth stretched wide beyond human regularity and filled with stained teeth, he ate corks, stones, entire baskets of apples, one at a time in quick succession, and live animals, his favorite was snake, for the morbid amusement of repulsed onlookers that were challenged to satiate his seemingly interminable appetite. As the legend goes, a young Tarrare was capable of eating his own body weight in cow meat within a 24-hour period. Sadly, this boundless craving forced him out of his family's home as a teenager, as they could no longer afford to feed him. Let a person imagine all that domestic or wild animals, the most filthy and ravenous, are capable of devouring, and they may form some idea of the appetite as well as the wants of Tarrare. Military surgeon Dr. Pierre-François Percy's report described Tarrare as having bloodshot eyes and constantly being overheated and sweating, with a body odor so rancid that he could be smelled from 20 feet away, and that's by 18th century French military surgeon standards. The smell only got worse after eating. Percy described it as being so bad he literally had visible stink lines. This showman named Tarrare died for unknown reasons in 1798, when he was only 26 years old. Perhaps they could have learned more about Tarrare's strange condition, but the stench became so unbearable that even Baron Percy, who was in charge of the autopsy, gave up. The doctors stopped the autopsy midway because they couldn't stand his smell for another second. They'd learned one thing, though. Tarrare's condition wasn't in his mind. Every strange thing that he'd done had started with a genuine, constant biological need to eat. The poor man's every experience had been dictated by the strange body he'd been born with, one that cursed him to a life of eternal hunger.